There is an Alzheimer's disease tsunami heading this way as the baby boomers age and the disease takes millions of them down. On Capitol Hill today, California First Lady Maria Shriver, retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich joined forces to testify before Congress about Alzheimer's. It was an urgent call to action. The costs of Alzheimer's in dollars and in heartbreak are going to be simply staggering. I know about this disease on a very personal level. I wanted to see if there is hope and how to fight for it. This is not going to be your typical story about Alzheimer's disease. You're going to visit a photo shoot for GQ magazine with music stars Sheryl Crow and will.i.am. You'll get to come to my office and watch me spit in a tube. It's embarrassing to be filmed doing it, but it's all for a good cause. You're going to listen to Newt Gingrich, and no matter what your political views are, I guarantee you're going to like what he has to say.
I think, first of all, tell your friends there's hope.
And this is really special. You'll get to meet my wife, Karen. Okay. So this will be, I hope, a different take on Alzheimer's, a disease that is a looming public health catastrophe. Every 72 seconds, someone in America develops Alzheimer's. 5.3 million Americans are living with the disease today, and that figure will skyrocket as the baby boomers age. The math is merciless. 1 in 8 of us will get Alzheimer's by age 65. 1 in 2 of us will get Alzheimer's by age 85. And that might well include me. My mother, Margaret Louise Moran, Margie Lou, died of Alzheimer's in 2001 at age 78. So like so many millions of Americans, I know the pain of losing a loved one to this disease. And I know the fear of it.
This is the test.
I wanted to face my fears and see what we can do to fight Alzheimer's, so I decided to get my DNA tested to see if I have a genetic link to the disease.
It is a big step to do this, but it's a step that you can take. You can take charge of your future.
All I had to do was spit into a test tube to provide a DNA sample. What I was really looking for was knowledge about myself, about the disease. And that, believe it or not, takes us right to that photo shoot in New York. Yes, that's Sheryl Crow in there, and in this one, that's will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas. But who are these other guys?
Yeah, that's good.
They're scientists, specifically the rock stars of science, some of our greatest scientific minds brought together by GQ magazine and the Jeffrey Bean Foundation to put scientific achievement back into the heart of the culture and promote scientific literacy.
Movies like Superman and X-Men and these superheroes, the real superheroes are these guys that are making miracles happen all the time.
will.i.am posed with 3 of the world's top researchers into Alzheimer's disease, and that's why we're here.
Did you enjoy that?
That was a lot of fun.
Dr. Ron Peterson was Ronald Reagan's physician as the former president descended into the darkness of Alzheimer's. He's been on the front lines of this fight for decades.
There's a sense out there, I think, in the public that it's such a daunting challenge that there's almost no progress being made.
Right.
What do you think of that?
Well, on the contrary, I think if you look at where we are today versus where we were 3 or 5 years ago in Alzheimer's disease research, we know so much more about the disease process now, which is giving us true targets to shoot at from a therapeutic sense.
Drs. Stephen Dukoski and Sam Gandy are in the vanguard of those efforts.
As we speak, there are some drugs, the drugs developed several years ago, that are symptomatic drugs for the disorder, and probably 100 medications in various stages of development that are targeted specifically at the disease itself.
100 medications being tested right now, including, imagine this, a pill to prevent Alzheimer's disease. But that's the future, maybe 10 years, maybe 15. Right now, today, Alzheimer's is still a terrible struggle. So I want you to meet Meryl Comer.
We'll have profiles of all of you and your teams.
She's the one who organized this photo shoot and a lot more. Meryl is my inspiration. She's one of the leading activists against Alzheimer's in the country. It's personal for her.
I'm right here.
Very personal.
Do you know my name? Can you say Meryl?
Meryl's husband, Harvey Grolnick, was a brilliant physician and scientist when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 15 years ago. She's cared for him ever since.
I've taken care of him longer than we've been married. 29 years we've been married, 15 years he's been sick. You just do it. People do it all the time. This is not extraordinary. It's life. It's life.
It is extraordinary. And now Meryl's mother, Molly, has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she's taking care of her, too. Molly refuses to acknowledge the diagnosis.
If I were to say, or you and I went to the doctor and received a diagnosis that you had Alzheimer's,
Right.
what would that say to you?
Time to die.
Why do you say that, Mother? You have children who love you.
I wouldn't know it.
It was Meryl who inspired me to get active, to get my own DNA tested for Alzheimer's, something she is doing too. For her, it's a political act as much as a medical one.
You were in great shape.
It's a terror for our generation. I mean, the baby boom generation, this will be our epidemic. This is the dark side of longevity. I just saw it young. So it's like being witness to the future. I'm afraid for all of us. And to me, it's time for a generation to say, unacceptable. This is not the way we want to end our lives.
But making Alzheimer's disease an unacceptable fate for the baby boom generation and beyond will take commitment, activism, and money. Today in Congress, the leaders of the National Alzheimer's Study Group, including Newt Gingrich, former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, and former Senator Bob Kerrey, called for a massive government-led effort to find a cure.
Our nation has no real plan for a federal effort to find a solution or to help manage the costs, and we need to do both.
Last week, we talked with Gingrich about defeating Alzheimer's.
I think the key strategy is, first of all, to recognize that the science is potentially there, that we're right at the breakthrough point, that we need to rethink how we invest in Alzheimer's.
So the scientists are at work. You and your colleagues and Alzheimer's activists are at work. What can people do? What can ordinary people do on this who are concerned?
I think, first of all, tell your friends there's hope. This isn't something you just have to endure. We can do radically better. Second, tell your congressmen and your senators you want action to turn that hope into reality.
Alzheimer's disease wreaks havoc on families. It did in my family. And once you've seen it up close, it haunts you forever. What if DNA testing can tell you the risk that Alzheimer's could become a part of your own life? Well, as much as it may have frightened me, I was determined to take that test. It was time to find out the results.
The moment of truth. You ready?
With my wife, Karen, she didn't want me to be alone for this. I went to the headquarters of Navigenics, the company that analyzed my DNA. We were both really nervous.
You're welcome.
Here we go.
Genetic testing's scary for a lot of us, but it's important to remember what I wasn't going to find out, as Dr. Vance Vanier of Navigenics told me.
And that's a point that we have to, reinforce over and over again. This is not your destiny. These are new risk factors, just like high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
Thank you so much for coming. Make yourselves comfortable.
How comfortable can I get?
Very.
Really?
We found out my results from Alyssa Levin, a genetic counselor at Navigenics.
How bad can it be? I say that now.
Alyssa explained the tests, then...
And here are your specific results.
There it was, my DNA risk profile for a whole host of diseases, including Alzheimer's. It turns out I am somewhat more at risk for getting Alzheimer's, a 19% lifetime risk, compared with 9% for most men.
Could have been worse. Yeah. I think that's one way it feels. But it also feels empowering.
It does.
I know.
Yeah.
It is heavy duty. That's it.
For Meryl Comer, who allowed us to be with her in Washington when she learned her results before she called her counselor, it was worse.
My overall risk?
Oh my God.
She had 2 of the genetic markers, a 37% lifetime risk.
I will put my life in order. I will tell everybody how much I love them. I will live the moment. And it's a piece of information, and I'll fight harder. That's all. That's what we do.
Meryl will fight. That's who she is. And the scientists will fight. It's a battle they know they can win. We all have to fight to end the scourge of this terrible disease, to take responsibility for our health and for each other.
I think it means we have to plan. Long-term care plans. You know, psychologically be prepared.
Karen and I have been married nearly 20 years, for better or worse, in sickness and in health.
You'll take care of me.
I'll take care of you, honey. I love you.
If you want more information, the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org. That's a great place to start. And please remember the caregivers.